Yep, but still, EOS get that 4-2 split, and now only 3 attacks required to
Uh,
take things in regulation here, so it's not looking too bad for them, really. They've at the very least, Zach Gaming has shown some signs of life here, and that's honestly maybe a bit more than we were expecting. They got that win onto those two sort of primary sites. There was no tertiary sites spotted in that entire half, so at the very least, they've taken away some sort of very strong sites from the defense, but it's a case of if EOS can replicate that because they have looked very strong on their attacks throughout this tournament, throughout their sort of play together as a team, and they've got that sort of veteran presence from those ex-entry players who also have done very good jobs attacking throughout various iterations of ESA Cup. So this is by no means sort of going to be a done deal for Zach Gaming on their defense. They're still going to have to really fight hard because EOS are a very strong team, no matter the size.
Yeah, absolutely. Experience might be the order of the day. Obviously, though, not to take away, Zello and Risk especially are very experienced players. So I think Risk as well has been on sort of the old Penta roster when that was the thing back in the day. So yeah, there is some experience here on the other side of things, but EOS certainly a bit more experienced in that regard. Shots, though, are going wide. Gash, though, inside of CCTV. Takes some swings out towards that shower corridor and nearly kills Shliwu, but takes a lot more damage in return. Down to 1 HP, now down. 3 players now converge on this position. Freddy G does find one, and then it's actually Vasi who gets down. Was that a shot through that closed barricade? I'm not entirely sure, as all of the players sort of converged onto Gashto's position, running in through doorways. It might have even been some team damage. Either way, he's picked back up. It's a 4 versus 5.
Yeah, NT though also taking a hefty chunk of damage there. Zach Gaming aren't willing to part with this staircase without a fight, and for good reason. This is clearly going to be the position where EOS look to stage their attack from Shliwu. Following in that Flores drone doesn't quite catch the defender there, but they've still made it down the freezer. The hatch is staying close.
Oh, that's so much damage.
To play aggressive, and as you said, a lot of damage from that impact grenade is really causing a lot of trouble for the attack here, as this is still looking to be a very one-dimensional push, and if these players are allowed to just sit here and hold these angles, EOS are going to end up paying for it. Even if they have this amount of damage, there needs to be a switch up here, and eventually we are seeing them go to these other avenues, going towards meeting, to cause a bit more of a pincer effect, because Zach Gaming, if they're allowed to just continue holding certain angles, things could get very bad for the attack.
My issue is that we've got so many EOS players with such low HP, only 2 of them up to full, whereas all 4 of the remaining players on Zach Gaming are on full health. So as we head into the final minute here, there could actually be a very real chance of Zach Gaming come into this, especially again with that time continuing to tick down. So the smokes come through. Zello finds a kill onto Tim. It's now a 4 versus 4. Suddenly we hit a bit of a breathing spot. The Twitch drone comes in just to try and clear out some more of this utility. Shliwu trying to find some swings, but it's actually Freddy who finds a double, and there's a triple for him. Finds the perfect angle up elevated on the box through towards that hallway. Zello at least gets a second, but he's taken down the Sari now. 1 versus 3, made a 1v2 with a kill onto Freddy, who's been an absolute monster this round. Still 2 more to find, and Shliwu just tucked behind the table is going to be too much for him to handle. EOS go up to 5.
Yeah, and that's really down to the heroic plays from Freddy there. I kind of don't really want to say this, but that wasn't a very good basement attack there. We saw a lot of stalling. We saw a lot of players just sort of waiting for where they want to go, and it was up to Freddy really to just continually push towards the defense and get those picks on the gridlock, while the rest of his team were almost kind of, I'm going to say floundering, but waiting to try and go somewhere while they're on such low HP. So really good job from Freddy there, who's taking his victory lap now as the Fuse. I don't think we're going to get this stuck, as no. He goes back to the gridlock, still playing that operator who has seen a massive rise in pick rate since being given frag grenades. Who'd have seen that coming? But yeah, he's had an incredible match so far, 7-4, and he's looking to keep it going as Zach Gaming, not deterred, back in the basement, and if they can just sort of convert on more of those picks, they have a very easy shot of winning this. We saw, as you pointed out, a lot of players on very low HP, and if a couple more bullets go the way of the defense there, we're seeing people drop dead, and it allows for Zach Gaming to have a much easier job here. So it's up to both these teams really to learn from that. EOS maybe not getting as I don't want to say aggressive, but not pushing these very watch angles, instead trying to isolate more gunfights are in their favor, and Zach Gaming need to really convert this damage into kills.
Yeah, it's certainly, you might want to call it unlucky, especially thinking about the impact grenade that took Shliru down to about 10 HP, but then no one capitalized on that, and instead he got the final kill of the round. So, more punishment needs to be delivered by Zach Gaming, like you were mentioning, because EOS were sloppy. And they just weren't dealt with by Zach Gaming. As it stands in this round, though, seeing not much action back down to the basement. Krizbow is kind of potentially going to be this first line of attack, and he's going to be the first player dead as well. Enti shuts him down through 2 floors, and that's not a great start from Zach Gaming. He's got E4 now gone, as well as just a very good gun in the P10 Ronin.
Yep, and if EOS are top-notch at counting, they will soon see that there are 4 defenders down below. So with Krizbow being taken down, that there's now for sure no one above, no potential for a backstab for a roaming presence, and that makes it an even more comfortable site to attack here, as it looks as though there's one on the... Yep, Enti taken down. It must have been some kind of one-way angle, and Zello took advantage of that, leaving it 4v4. A very peculiar position to play just due to how the angles work there. There's no way Enti saw him. It must be something to do with the props gunfire exchange at Laundry, but yeah, I wouldn't sort of be too harsh on the Jackal there. It was a bad position, but there's no way he scored the defender there.
Yeah, Risk has taken a lot of damage from the track stingers of Freddy playing the Gridlocker. Impact grenade goes up the hatch inside of Freezer, but it's only going to deal about 1 point of damage to Shliru. It would have been nice in that previous round, but now it's not enough. The swing comes through from Risk, and he's taken down as well. Freddy T hitting him with the teabag as well, just to sort of rub salt in the wound. Blasari, though, is going to keep things at least level for now, but Tim also finds a response. Straight back and forth into the 3 versus 2. Tim now taking a lot of damage, but does manage to down Blasari inside a closet. Zello left 1 versus 3 unless he can find the revive, and I don't think he'll be able to do it. In fact, it's Freddy who finds the kill with his own gun. The F90 coming alive there for Team EOS, and they've suddenly found match point out of seemingly nowhere, because these rounds, they have not been very clean from EOS's point of view.
Yeah, but this is a very good position for EOS, though. Despite how messy these rounds have been, it puts Zach Gaming in a very difficult spot here. They've lost their primary site twice. They're going to have to win on tertiaries here, and they might not even want to reattempt the primary again. We could be seeing a lot of that first floor if Zach Gaming make this comeback, because they've just looked so far finishing off these basement defenses. As you said, it's not been clean. They've got a good amount of early damage, but by the end, it's always EOS standing on top. So Zach Gaming, they've wisely chosen to just depart from that basement site now, up onto the second floor here, trying something different. We've got Risk on that Valkyrie to provide a bit more intel. Kreuzbauer as well on that Lucy, another operator. We just don't really see that much anymore. An echo of a bygone era of Siege there with those, I remember Banshees slow down the attack and are, most importantly, bulletproof when they are not activated. So it's all designed, really, this lineup, at seeing where the attack are and responding to it, because EOS, they've been incredible at these entries.
It just comes down to just more punishment, right? Just more consequences need to come through for the mistakes that EOS are making, and it's just not happening so far. As I say that, though, Tim, unaware of Krizbow's position, that's a very nice heads-up play there from the Melusi, just taking the pre-fire out of that balcony door and able to take down the 8 full operators. A C4 comes out over the top as well from the Mozzie of Zello. Actually, no, indeed it isn't. In fact, all the C4s get collected back up again. I definitely heard the beating. Zello is watching, waiting for Enti to come round the corner, ready and waiting. You read the rotation perfectly, but now taken down. All of the players started to just train in on his position. Not surprising that he'd get taken down there. Unfortunate maybe to not get a kill, but still did a very good job.
Yeah, taking down that hard breach and one of those nades is going to make things very, very difficult to actually execute up here, because a lot of this push relies on those indirect kills and opening up new angles. So for for EOS even, it's going to be a case really of just shoving your face through a doorway and trying to get a pick. And don't get me wrong, they've been good at that on their basement attacks. A lot of it has kind of been based on just negotiating for picks around these angles, but this is a different site, it's a different setup. Things are still going to be very, very difficult, as we see on these players going onto the hotel here to try and get something. That's Vasi. He just wants to find any kind of pick, because it's the best position he can really take here. It gives him a wide angle onto the site, but the defense know this. Kreuzbau going behind that sort of half wall there. Elsewhere, Schliwu trying to get him right. The defense, though, they're quite to this. They know where these players are, and they're just adopting the perfect positions here. But Freddy's run into it well. Sees the gun, sees the head, takes the shot, and gets him. 3 versus 3 now at least. Brings EOS a bit closer to victory, but with still so much to deal with, it's not looking likely.
So much to overcome for this attacking side of EOS. And perhaps Sorry being spotted there through this long angle from the big window. Freddy as well, his position now noted by that swing from Risk. Shots in a track stinger just to try and dislodge the defense from their positions. Flashbangs go in as well, frag grenades, and Vasi's just gone straight for it. Diffuser now dropped in the site. Freddy trying to salvage, but now it's just on him as Schliewu's down. He's only got 20 HP. No opportunity for a pickup, but he's able to find Gashto now into a 1v1. Blasari can hold close with a shotgun, but his position now noted as well. No utility for Freddy. It's just going to have to be a straight-on gunfight. Blasari's playing it far away, but the shotgun still reigns supreme. Zach Gaming stay alive here on Oregon for at least one more round.
It was so close as well. The position that the defender took was so far away for the weapon they had. Freddy had a really good shot at that, but just couldn't quite get that final bullet out. It's a story we've seen time and time again here on Oregon. These players getting down so low, but just not enough to get it into a round win. So good play from Zach Gaming there. They've at least won one of these defenses, but now they've got to win 2 more before they can even think about going back to the top floor. So it's still by no means a done deal that they're coming back from this position. 6-3 is still a dominant scoreline for EOS, and it forces Zach Gaming now to get a bit creative, get a bit different, go for somewhere else, because they can't rely on this site again. They have to go for some other point like the kitchen, even basement if they're feeling particularly risky. And EOS have shown to be very good at these top-down attacks, so it's still going to be a monumental effort for them.
They've gone for the basement. Already 2 failures on this site. Or two non-conversions, at least, on this site. Those first 2 of the half there. Attempting it again. EOS are bringing along a sense on the on Schliwu as well. So I wonder where those P-rollers will come in useful, because I'm trying to think, maybe bunker, perhaps?
Bunker or freezer, potentially?
Yeah.
I just worry that they're overthinking this a bit. They were winning it off of gunfights.
Yeah, exactly. And the Sense's gun is not an easy beast to tame, that's for sure. I hope Schliwu knows what he's doing, because otherwise this could be very, very risky, and it could give Zach Gaming the opportunity to actually find a comeback here, even start dreaming about overtime, which is obviously not what we want to happen. And he's just using the gun to open a vertical angle. That's a full magazine, full 50 bullets, just to open one sight line, and there's just a barricade in his way at the end of it anyway.
Yeah, I guess we might be reading too much into this pick, but the issue I have with a lot of kind of sense executes is a similar one to glass and smoke-based ones, is it's very all or nothing. It's a lot to gamble. Very rarely do you see an execute that just happens to include a sense. Usually, sense, they are the primary focus of it. So it's a big risk here, and they're facing down a shotgun at the bottom of Freezer stairs. It looks to be where they want to put these hologram barriers down, but it doesn't really matter if the smoke player can see them or not. That shotgun is so effective at such a kind of wide angle at close range that really it could still easily end up being a pick for the defense here. As EOS, they're kind of stalling out here. They're finally sending down Gemini towards tower stairs to get a bit more intel. So this is definitely a one-dimensional freezer take here, and it's taking a lot of time. And there's still that mirror window at the end to deal with. On top of that, this is a very puzzling attack here, Cameron.
Yeah, I don't really know what the idea here is. Finally, we do get to see the Sense potentially get some use as Schlery looks to send down the roller down that freezer hatch, but instead Utility sits in pocket, just waiting for some sort of go signal. Schlery, in fact, is rotated over to the laundry just to cut off these lines of sight, but it's not going to work, at least for now. Gashto still finding the first onto Tim, who was over here in laundry as well. NT does find another, potentially just a distraction being used there to find a kill, but still 40 seconds, 4 versus 4. EOS need to get something else done here, as there's perhaps an opportunity to catch out Gashto, but he rotates back to the safety of the bomb chassis. Still, no sort of committal from EOS just yet. Are they finally going to commit? They have to. There's only 20 seconds left. The Fizzer now making its way with Vasi down those freezer stairs. And Vasi finds a kill onto Gashto. That is exactly what you want. The mirror window was shot out by Schleru. He's taken down by Blasari, but now it is just Zelu in a 1 versus 3, retaking the vertical. Does he know where this attack is coming from? He's sitting here on the back of freezer stairs. Vasi starting to get this diffuser down. EOS might have just done enough. Zelu now makes his rotation, his grand pilgrimage to where the diffuser has been planted, and he's going to have to make it with 3 opposing guns. Make that 2 opposing guns. A nice clean headshot onto Freddy. And now suddenly so much more winnable, but still players, they're going to be holding crossfires. They're going to be watching and waiting. Not on the vertical though. Does have to try and deal with this first player inside of elbow. I don't know if he's aware of the position. NT in fact rotates away. Both are watching this angle. Both of these players know where Zello is coming from, and there's only 10 seconds left really before he has to be on this diffuser as we start to head down into red time. Vasi with the pre-fire gets it done. 7 rounds to 3. EOS. They stave off what looked like it could have been a scary comeback, and instead settle it nice and quickly. And again, you've got to chuck a little bit of BM in there for the end of things. EOS, the expected outcome really. A nice clean map win here on Oregon.
Yep, and it was a map that was mainly won off those gunfights. EOS just looked leagues ahead of Zach Gaming there, honestly, when it came down to those engagements. You saw Freddy, you saw Vasi as well, having great maps there, just putting up incredible numbers. It was really just, it was a joy to see if you're a fan of just the sort of gunfight-favored meta that we're in right now. These players just winning seemingly unwinnable rounds by just isolating picks and getting things done.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the end of the group stage, I guess. With EOS taking that win, all of the phase 1 games have finished, and we have all of the eliminated teams as well. So from Group A, you have Pulse Nation and Before Effect. From Group B, it's Empire Gaming and Evo 5. From Group C, it's Underrated Esports and Crown Zero. And from Group D, it's Eagle Empire and Entropy Gaming. That all that won ESA Cup not just 2 seasons ago. 0-5 in this group. Obviously, it's a different roster, but still, it feels like a little bit of a fall from grace. And the teams that go on towards that Swiss Stage 2, which the bracket is still being made. It will come out later tonight. Minions, Element, Sevens Esport, AGM, Florida 7, E-Wave, Windows Key, Team Aspire, Tracker Clan, Wii Sports, MDF, MVG, Linard's Defense League, EOS, Zach Gaming, and Mafia Squad. All of those teams will be going into Swiss. They'll be seeded, sorted, and we will know the matchups that we have to play next week, hopefully later on this evening.
Yep. So, yeah, you were saying Entropy, former winners haven't really sort of come close to that glory since, but we do have a couple of nice storylines going in Swiss. I think the biggest one, LDL being that Minions roster who won just last season, and Minions, the org themselves, who still retain Alex Northey. There's a nice sort of thing brewing there. Obviously, both coming into Swiss as first seeds, so they won't be meeting each other in the first round. So that will also allow for that rivalry to sort of get to a boiling point, I guess. I'm very excited to see the result of that match, because they're 2 teams that have looked pretty solid coming into this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of impressive that Minions are having some really good success with two different rosters, and that previous roster, it wasn't a fluke. They are still here and still competing. They're the only team, in fact, that got 15 points throughout the group stages. I believe the only other team that went flawless were Flawless 7, but they had one of their games go to overtime. So
Hmm.
they are on 14 points, and there you go. You can see it, 15 points for Lennard's Defense League. EOS move up to second in the group. Well, actually, they're already there. But they sort of solidify their spot with 12 points. Zach Gaming stay in third, and Mafia Squad stay in fourth. The only thing really that today matters now for are those points and also the round difference, because that's how you get seeded in that second phase, and potentially EOS might have got themselves a slightly easier matchup heading into that Swiss stage of the tournament.
Yep, absolutely. Being second seed, I'd imagine they will face the third seed from one of those groups. So yeah, it's definitely that can be a very nice sort of bonus heading into the Swiss stage. It gives you a slightly easier opponent, although of course it is at the sort of you're at the mercy of how other groups went. Sometimes
Yeah.
a sort of better team just has a couple bad days, but usually being able to play a lower seeded team gives you a bit of a nice start, allows you to really get into the swing of things as you head towards those more difficult teams in Swiss. So there was definitely a lot to play for today, and Team EOS showed that they were very much eager to win.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, that is I mean, it was a pretty impressive game. There was still a lot to improve on, though, I felt like, from both of these teams. So, we're still opportunity to see some progress from both EOS and Zach Gaming heading into Swiss. Neither of them are eliminated, like we've been saying. So,
Hmm.
hopefully that means that we get to see sort of more of that progression from them, because there were a lot of mistakes from EOS that went unpunished by Zach Gaming today, and you have a feeling that teams like LDL, like Minions, like um, Flawless 7, and even Windows Key and E-Wave as well, like a bunch of the other teams in other groups that especially topped their groups, they wouldn't be letting those mistakes slide. This was very much sort of a mid-table matchup in this group, at least. And I'm excited and interested to see what happens when we get into that next phase, where we start to see those groups sort of commingle and we get the I guess tougher tests now that some of those weaker teams have been sort of weeded out.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying throughout that match, it was kind of won on gunfights, and against better
Yeah.
teams with better gunners, you're not going to win those rounds. You need a solid sort of strategical backbone of your pushers, or else things just won't go well. So yeah, a lot to learn for these teams, and well, the tournament's by no means over. So there's
No.
plenty of time for them to learn as well. We're just on the horizon of the Swiss stage here. This was final day of groups. So we've still got months of action ahead of us. So I think that's just about it for today.
Yeah, absolutely. That is it for us today, and obviously that group stage, like we've been saying, we'll see you, I believe, tomorrow for the first day of that Swiss stage. You don't want to miss that, because I'm sure there will be some more high energy matches. For today, though, I've been Pastor. I've been joined by Pooble. Signing off. Goodbye.